Hi, welcome, Jennifer Prescott. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you
Thanks for
faring
having me,
today?
Brad. Thank you.
You holding up in this quarantine?
I guess, I'm holding up fine. I'm ever aware of people that are in a way more devastating position than I'm in. So anytime I start to feel a little, mad or frustrated, I go, you just shut it down, lady, because there are some people that are in serious crisis,
Yes, there are.
and I constantly remind myself of that.
I've always admired you because you are very much environmental person first. You're like, let's take care of the environment. I always like your suggestions. And then we were in a Zoom meeting last week and I was like, oh, I'm wasting so much water. And you had a great suggestion. And I realized I would love to get your perspective on how we can take care of the environment and take care of COVID. And I loved what you said that this pandemic is not an excuse to pollute.
That's right. That's what I say. COVID is not an excuse to pollute, and it actually should be influencing us the other way. Because what we have to remember is this pandemic and these viruses, these coronaviruses, of which there have been a few, right, in the last, 20 years, are all animal to human. And they are all really at the very core caused by environmental degradation. And the fact that we humans are bumping up against animals in a rate that we didn't in the past. And not only that, we're destroying biodiversity to a degree that it's throwing the balance off in the animal world as well. Okay, so if that isn't a reason to say, hey, let's slow our roll here and figure out what our behavior does in a negative way to the environment so that we can change that. We should all be of that mindset. But unfortunately, a lot of people just, deck chairs off the Titanic. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what's the point of recycling my plastic bags, or why shouldn't I get plastic bags now because I should be able to throw everything away because everything's infected. I understand where that instinct is coming from. I get it. I get why someone in a grocery store parking lot can toss them either in their cart or on the ground because they want the virus to be away from them. But the truth is somebody has to come pick those up. Do we all need to be walking around with medical grade gloves on? Actually, no. If you're just trying to protect your hands, you don't have to have medical grade gloves on. Medical workers need those,
Yeah.
but we don't need them. I don't own them. I mean, a lot of people can't get their hands on them, but my point is, if you feel more comfortable wearing gloves in a grocery store, and that's debatable if that's really actually helping you, because the truth is gloves get the virus on them too. So you know what I mean? You just have an extra layer of virus that you have to handle now and deal with, as opposed to just washing your hands.
Right.
I'm not a doctor, but I mean, I've read and heard enough about this to go, yeah, that doesn't really make that much sense, does it? But it makes you feel more comfortable. Just wear some gloves. Wear
Yeah.
some gardening gloves or some, your stretchy little liner gloves that you wear. Just wear some gloves. You don't need to wear plastic gloves.
Right. Yeah, because right now my neighborhood is just the streets are littered with them, and it's disgusting. But also right now, I don't know, the trash is overflowing. It's just there's just seems to be a lack of care that used to be there. But then we see things of how like the pollution is disappearing from the world. So it's like we're doing good things by doing this. So we have to step up to the challenge and not keep going and
Yeah,
make it
there have been some positive outcomes for the environment, but those have not been intentional on our part.
right.
That's just Mother Nature saying, you're in timeout and I need a breath.
Yeah.
And this is what happens very quickly. You see, it is positive. You see how quickly nature regenerates itself. It's really amazing when we get out of the way and we
Yeah.
stop doing what we're doing. But we don't get to take credit for that.
No.
That's been an outside force that has made that happen. So I think that just not being mindful of materials shouldn't be escalated at this time. It should be de-escalated. We should be looking in our garbage cans, taking a waste audit, saying, wow, what is this landfill bound waste that I generate, and how do I find solutions for that? what can I change in my shopping, in my everyday life that can eliminate that thing that is not recyclable? It's super easy when you go grocery shopping. I'll just tell you, buying glass, buying cardboard, or buying cans. Because plastic, even though in New York, we take all rigid plastics, at least in the 5 boroughs, right, in New York City. It's a bit of a smokescreen. Not all plastics is actually recyclable or necessarily has a market. And since the Chinese markets have dropped out, the Asian markets have dropped out, they do not buy our plastic anymore. They do not need it. They make enough of their own. We're not shipping our plastic over there anymore. Our garbage, basically. It's a question mark as to whether that plastic is going to be recycled. Don't buy it. Just don't buy it. And it's easy because I go shopping and I can buy the peanut butter in a glass jar, or I can buy the peanut butter in the plastic jar. And I don't care if the glass jar is going to cost me a few pennies more, because I know not only is that glass is cradle to cradle material, and that means basically it just turns back into glass. It doesn't have to go through a lot of processes to become glass again. Okay, like plastics do, right? But also, you have a free storage container now. And not only that, for the other materials, metal is always going to be recycled. It always has a market. Metal always will, it always has. So, but if you buy metal, you know it's going to be upcycled into metal again. And paper, paper takes a little more energy and water to recycle and make back into paper, but about 75% less than making paper from virgin wood fiber.
Right.
The key there is virgin wood fiber comes from virgin forests, and we cannot afford to lose those anymore at any rate. I mean, we've disseminated 98% of the global old growth forest on the planet. It's gone. And that's our air conditioner, that's our water purifier, that's our lungs, right? So it's super simple. When you go to the grocery store, flip the thing over, your toilet paper over, if you can find any right now, and you look for 100% post-consumer waste recycled material. And that means that toilet paper has come from, recycled paper, and you are not flushing our forests down the toilet. It's easy. And then there are also brands, tree-free brands out there that you can get, the bamboo fiber ones, you can find them easy, Google them. Most of them are a subscription, so they're going to come in a big box. There are, tree-free. Bamboo is a highly, highly regenerative plant. So it doesn't require a ton of water. It requires no pesticide. So you don't even have to say organic bamboo, because it would always be organic because they don't use pesticide on it. And it's super regenerative, meaning it just grows back. Like it could take years and years and years, right? 200 years to grow a big tree. Bamboo just keeps coming. Think about those materials as well.
Well, because I was reading your blog and it was talking about, because right now we are using so many paper products, and I didn't even think about making sure that it's tree free. I love your blog. What's the name of it?
It's called Jenny Green Jeans, just like the old Captain Kangaroo, Mr. Green Jeans. It's Jenny Green Jeans, all one word. Yeah, anything I'm talking about here, you'll find a post on it. There's a lot of ways to go tree free in your life. I'm carrying on my store, which I'm just about to open. And if you go into Jenny Green Jeans, there will be links to the store, but the store is called Green Design Goods. So it's easy to get to, but right now it's frozen. So if you go into that site, you're going to look at the home page, but you can't move through it yet because I'm still dickering with it. But within a week, it should be open. For the people that just can't live without paper towels, I don't really understand them because I haven't bought paper towels probably for 15 years. I just don't allow them in my home. But if you're someone that just feels super comfortable with them, there is something called a Swedish dish towel, and it's like this big, it's like 6 by 8 or something like that, and it's made out of tree cellulose and cotton, and it's naturally antibacterial. It's super strong. You just rinse them out and lay them flat to dry, or you throw them in your washing machine, or you put them in the top rack of your dishwasher, and they keep going and going and going, like up to minimum of 200 washes. They replace something ridiculous, like 17,000 paper towels, like one, something silly like that kind of a figure. When you're done with them after 200 or 300, I keep everything long. But when you're done with it, when it's used, its life is up, you just cut them up and you can compost them. Let's say you don't compost, you don't have access to compost. Let's say in New York City, you don't have brown bins in your building, which, some of us do, some of us don't. If you throw that used Swedish dish towel into the garbage, it's not going to off gas and live in the ground forever. It's not toxic in any way. And you haven't used up all these trees on these, single-use paper products.
Like, tell me about using less water when you're washing your hands.
Well, it's the same concept as turning your faucet off when you're brushing your teeth. It's the same thing. So I know we're all washing our hands a ton, but basically you get your hands wet and you get them soapy, right? And usually when you're lathering your hands, the water's just running.
Right.
So usually you're not lathering your hands under the water because it's washing all the soap off immediately. And we're supposed to be washing our hands for at least, 20 seconds or whatever that is. Get your hands wet and the soap wet, lather your hands, knock that faucet off, wash your hands for 20 seconds. Get it in there under your nails. Do it. It's like they call it an army wash, right? An army bath. They don't have enough water for you to sit there with the water running. You have to get yourself wet. The water goes off. You lather up. When you're ready to rinse it off, you go ahead, turn the water back on. It's the same concept. So do that with your hands. If you're really using a lot of water, that only makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, right now, too, I know that in normal times, you're very anti-bleach. What are your suggestions on things like that right now?
Well, right now, one of my most recent posts is disinfecting during coronavirus, right? In the past, I've always said bleach has no place outside a medical environment. Bleach is a corrosive chemical. Chloride is a corrosive chemical. And when you add that chemical with, like, say, detergent, you have mustard gas. Did you know that?
No.
It's a war weapon. You need to use bleach responsibly by diluting it to the degree that it tells you to, right? And most people know this. If you combine pure bleach with detergent, you'll get a huge ammonia, blowback, and it's very corrosive for your lungs. I just don't allow chemical in my house. So bleach is not, ever, not even in this time is it part of my home. But I'm not wagging my finger at you, but if you think bleach is the only thing that kills viruses and bacteria, you're wrong. Like one cleaner I have on there that I'm using right now, it's alcohol and hydrogen peroxide.
Okay.
And water. That's a super powerful disinfectant for virus. Most bacteria can be killed with vinegar and lemon, anything acidic, soap, vinegar, lemon. For most bacteria, that's fine. That takes care of it. But when we're talking about these heavy-duty viruses, I understand people's, concern about being, super careful. That is my disinfectant. And that's the same disinfectant you have in the hand sanitizer recipe. It's alcohol, right? And aloe vera. And that's the carrier. When you say a carrier, that means the aloe vera holds on to it. That's otherwise you're just dumping pure alcohol in your hands, which wouldn't kill you, but it's a kind of a waste of alcohol. It's like taking a fire gun to a pistachio nut. You don't need to do that. Right. So that's the point. But if anyone wants to really dig into this, you can read that article. It's a very recent post on my blog, and it kind of breaks it all down.
Yeah. Well, my last question, and then I'll let you get back to your busy household. It said, read the fine print. And I was like, I always read the fine print. But it just says when you spray 409 on there, I always just wipe it up immediately. And it actually says, let it sit.
Exactly. Okay. So most cleaners will advise you to let it sit anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes, depending on the cleaner you're using. Even Method or those all natural ones will say the same thing. Please let this sit for a certain amount of time for it to be effective. And a lot of us are like, spray, wipe it down with a wet sponge, which actually is diluting the actual cleaner. A lot of people dry. immediately because they want everything spick and span and dry, like it didn't happen. And that's a definite tip. Most people didn't know that. Honestly, most people didn't. I didn't even really know it. But
either. I don't read it. I love your blog and I love you as a person, but even just reading the stuff that it says, like safe shopping tips and how to pick up things and your shopping bags, to leave them outside or in the bathtub. I mean, these are just things that are important right now. But also, I think your message, like I've been doing this meditation class and it says, think globally, act locally, which I love because I can't change the whole world, but I can change my part of Jackson Heights. And if that means washing things better and safer, I know for people like me, I need to be told. I'll totally do it, but I'm not going to run out and research it. So that's why I love your access and passion, because it helps other people.
thank you, Brad.
You're
I'm
welcome.
glad.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. You just scream from your little corner and hope people hear you.
Well, I know today is Earth Day and you have a lot of stuff to do. So thank you for letting my interview be part of your busy 24 hours. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Brad.